Hi beautiful souls, welcome to my channel Elle's Temple. My name is Elle, I am a goddess guide and intuitive tarot reader, and today I am so excited to be bringing you a reading all about what does the Akashic Records say about your highest life purpose. And today's reading is brought to you with the beautiful goddess Sophia, who is the goddess of divine wisdom. And just to explain quickly, in case you are new to the Akashic Records, basically the Akashic Records are just an energetic library of information that is stored with a lot of divine wisdom, containing all the information about your soul through all its incarnations. So, and also all the information about your soul for this lifetime as well. So if you're wanting to get guidance, if you're wanting to get some wisdom, some information, some clarity on what your highest life purpose is, if you've been asking, why am I really here? What is my purpose on this earth? What am I meant to be doing with my life? Then you have come to the right reading. Okay, my lovelies, so to introduce each of the three piles, we have got Goddess Epona as pile number 1. And the theme on this card is Earth Magic. And the crystal for this pile, if you prefer to choose with crystals, is this amethyst and clear quartz cluster crystal. Okay, so if you are drawn to pile number 2 with Merlin, Cosmic Knowledge, and the crystal for pile 2 is this beautiful labradorite ball. Hopefully you can see the little shimmering. I love this crystal. And if you are drawn to Goddess 3 with Hell, End of a Cycle, you'll be pile 3. And your crystal is the Scoria crystal, or lava stone as it's also known. Hopefully you can see there's some little sparkly bits that come up in this crystal. Okay, my lovelies, so the timestamps for each of the 3 readings will be in the description box below. If you are drawn to more than one reading, then trust your intuition. It may be that there are either multiple purposes that you are meant to do in this lifetime, quite possibly. It may be that there are different messages across the different readings that whatever sort of resonates with you, you just need to pull together to create your reading. Only ever take what resonates, never force anything to fit. And I will see you in your reading. Okay. Hi there, pile number 1. If you chose the beautiful Epona, goddess of earth magic, and this amethyst spirit, sorry, let's try that again. Amethyst clear quartz cluster crystal. It's a bit of a mouthful. Such a pretty crystal though. I love this one. Okay, so this will be your reading for pile number 1. So pile 1, the energy that I get through for you straight away is you are such a beautiful earth goddess kind of energy. Like, I feel like you're very connected with Gaia energy. I feel like you're very connected with nature, with animals. Some of you may work with animals, or part of your highest life purpose, according to the Akashic Records, is to work with either animals, nature, something like crystal healing as well. We've got this sort of gemstone on her, this gemstone necklace on her hair. She's holding a flower as well, so possibly some of you could be doing something related to flowers, or like healing from plants, so like a herbalist, for example, or someone who does like energy work in relation to using nature, so things like flower remedies, or aromatherapy is something else I'm getting. Also someone who's a nature guide, someone who takes people out into nature, helps guide them to connect to nature and heal from nature. I feel that you have a very strong connection with like the spirits of nature, so like plant spirit medicine healing could be something for some of you, or just generally speaking, you have that ability to tap into and connect with like elemental energy, that the energy of the elements. So like being able to use, you know, fire, wind, water, so forth, for specific healing things, whether it's like a healing ritual, or you're a guide, you take people out into nature and help them connect with the elements in order to like heal themselves, whether that's like spiritually, emotionally, physically even, whatever it might be. You are very much connected with healing using nature, or healing animals as well. So some of you may have a very strong connection to horses specifically. Sorry, I realize I'm just suddenly aware I'm ringing off quite a lot of examples of different things, but obviously this is a general reading, so just take what resonates. It won't necessarily be that you'll do every single one of these things, as I'm sure you're aware. It's just whatever is sort of under this field of like kind of earth magic. If there's one thing in particular that you've been feeling very called towards, or if you know in particular, oh yeah, I definitely feel a strong resonance with like animals specifically, or no, I feel like a really strong connection to crystals specifically, or something like that. For some of you, it may be that you have a lot of connection with a lot of those different things, and it's a case of just figuring out how you're going to kind of work all that together. And there may well be a field that actually ties a lot of those things in, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a moment with the other cards. But for now, these are just the kind of examples of different things that are coming through. And for many of you, I feel like it'll be kind of one of those paths, and some of you may already be doing some of those things. I feel like I've definitely got some therapists in this group, but it may just be that like whatever you're doing at the moment, your practice may evolve, right, over time. So it may be that, like, for example, right now you may be a counselor, right, but you may do most of your work perhaps just in an office or something like that, or one-to-one. And part of your highest purpose is to do that work out in nature, right? Or to do it with groups, taking people out into nature and helping them like interact with nature, or taking them on retreats, or taking them out to sort of interact with animals so that they heal some of their emotional issues through through like a connection with animals. Like, for example, what's springing to mind is, I think there's a film called 28 Days with Sandra Bullock. It came out quite a while ago, but it was about she was going through alcohol rehabilitation after some struggles with addiction to alcohol and substances and so forth. And one of the things they do at the center is take them out to connect with horses. I believe that might be kind of a common thing that is done in this type of therapy. I'm not terribly familiar, so this is just from what I've seen in the media. But if you already work in this field, you'll probably know a lot more about that. But they really use horses to help people with addictions in some way. So it could be that could be something you're feeling more sort of pulled towards, or something you start to work with a little bit more directly, or more powerfully as you step into your highest purpose a little bit more. For some of you, this could be directly working with animals, doing healing with animals, like starting a retreat center or a healing center to help injured animals, or working with, again, like I'm getting working with animal energy to then help humans, like using the energy of connecting with animals and nature to help. I'm hearing like specifically things like either autistic children possibly, or children or young adults, or groups of people with like certain mental health conditions or special needs, or what else is coming through? I'm just trying to get a little bit more specific to help. I'm hearing like to help people who feel lost to find their place, like in society or in the world. So maybe, like doing some kind of animal therapy. So this is just what's channeling through me. I hope that might be resonating for some of you. You'll have to comment below if this is something you're like, oh yeah, that's called XYZ therapy or something. I feel like that might be quite generalized, and it may even be something as well. What I'm feeling guided to say is you may well develop this form of healing. This may be a brand new type of healing that you have been working on, or you're feeling more called to work on, or you just evolve as a result of like your work with animals or something like that. So this may very be something you're pioneering, is what I'm hearing. So that's really amazing. So let's get into your other cards and see what other energy is coming through for you about your highest purpose. So first up, we have for the archetype card that you embody is the mentor. Yes, definitely. I get this energy. I spoke with some of you. I picked up a sort of vibe of someone who's like a therapist or something, or a guide. You're a mentor. I feel like you have that mentoring energy. It's like you have this beautiful like energy where you can bring people under your wings, kind of like a mother hen kind of thing. So some of you might be like very much like the mum sort of friend in your group or in your circle, or Generally, people just tell you this. You have a very nurturing energy. You have an ability to like bring people under your wing and kind of nurture them and guide them and give them information or give them, just sort of mentorship and I feel like you're a natural born leader, but you maybe don't necessarily perceive yourself in that way. So maybe you feel more comfortable seeing yourself as like a mentor or a guide or like a helper or support or something like that, or kind of just someone who like is comfortable bringing people under your wing and like kind of guiding them until they're ready to kind of go off and do this whatever this is, this healing work that you're doing with them on their own. Like it's kind of like you don't really want to be having people under your wing forever. It's kind of like for you, you want to bring people in and like only have to guide them to a certain point where you get, it's kind of like the energy I'm getting is like teach a man to fish and you'll feed him, or give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and he can feed himself for a lifetime. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. It's like you're that kind of mentor where you don't just kind of get people in and you're like, okay, I'm just going to give you a flower essence remedy, for example, or I'm just going to give you one session with my horse or something to help you feel calmer, or you know, I'm just going to take you out into nature to do one like forest bathing walk. Like, no, you're someone who takes people under your wing and you like guide them to really connect with nature, to really connect with the earth, to really like powerfully and potently like know how to shift their energy, know how to heal whatever it is they need to heal, so that they can then take those tools and use them in their everyday lives or something like that. I feel like, or maybe you're even like a teacher to teachers, like you're the mentor for people to do that kind of work, especially if you are pioneering a system. It may be that you don't even work directly with like the clients, you just work with the people who are then going to be working with the clients, right? Working with the public. So that could be something as well. But yeah, I feel like with this owl, which is symbolic of wisdom, so you have a lot of like natural wisdom, especially about like, the animal kingdom, the natural world, plants, plant medicine, that type of thing. It's very like magical energy. You have very magical energy. It's very beautiful. There's a lot of like, I feel like this ball here is reminding me of like the crystal amber. It's just got very kind of amber energy is what I'm picking up. But so that crystal may be significant for some of you. But it's very earthy. I'm hoping the camera is picking up the color the way I'm seeing it, because it's quite like kind of browny, but like sparkly browny. So I'm getting very like Earth Star chakra, which is the chakra that sits below the root chakra. And it's what connects us with like the fiery core of the earth. And I feel like I'm just getting like such kind of green goddess vibes from you. And by green goddess, I don't mean like kind of trite kind of the way that's often presented in like on Instagram or whatever. I feel like this is like you're genuinely like connected to Gaia energy, and you're genuinely like really rooted in like the earth, and like just got this like, it's like you can draw up all this healing energy from Gaia, from the earth. Like I'm hearing like also like you may know how to do crystal grids and crystal grid healing. That could be something that either could be signified to help you, but also something that you, if you're really drawn to crystals or crystal healing, that could be something that could be part of your highest life purpose, is doing like crystal grids and helping people heal with crystal grids, things like that. Maybe even doing it out in nature. But you're just very grounded. I'm getting this like, oh, it's so yummy. It's such yummy energy. I could sit in this all day. It's like really earthy, really grounded. You may be an earth sign. So you may be Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, or have one of those signs really strong in your chart. It could be your North Node or something like that. But it's just very like connected, grounded, rooted energy. You may also be someone who has a lot of wisdom around like what needs to happen to heal the core of the earth or to heal the earth. So you may be a sort of environmental warrior, or be very passionate about ecology and yeah, kind of like, I guess, like, you know, all this stuff about, you know, the how the planet's heating up, because as well I'm getting this like vibe with this globe that looks really hot, and then there's this owl that's kind of protecting it with these wings. It's like that's you kind of being like, okay, we really need to protect the earth right now, guys, like come on, we really need to heal the earth, we really need to bring the earth under our wing, we need to do a lot to actually heal the energy of the earth, and like and physically just heal the earth, like stop polluting and kind of all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, just all the like, I'm hearing like Naomi Klein as well, but I believe she wrote a book called something, I think it was called something on fire. I apologize, I haven't read the book myself. I think I have it somewhere, but I haven't quite got around to reading it yet. But yeah, I believe she's a really good author. I think she's Canadian, but so something, you know, some of you might be very connected with the earth, but it may not be in a healing capacity so much, but more of an like a being an advisor, being like a mentor or someone who gives information about the earth. You know, like you're like you could be a scientist even, or you could be like a climate change activist, or yeah, just really passionate about, you know, these issues around like earth awareness. I'm hearing yeah, like I guess raising awareness about the climate crisis, and you know, issues with the like the earth heating up, yeah, kind of various things like that. It could be that that's something that you write about or you're really passionate about, or something that is part of your highest purpose to step into, is like kind of being this like protective force over the earth, being like, okay, we really need to do XYZ, like this is what we all have to step up and like start playing our part or something like that. So I'm also seeing oh gosh, what is that film with Julia Roberts? Oh my goodness, I've just drawn a blank. 1 second. Sorry, I just had to look it up because it was bugging me. I couldn't remember the name of it. Erin Brockovich, which I can't believe I forgot that because it's like one of my favorite films. But so if you haven't already seen that, I would highly recommend it, especially if you are passionate about, yeah, anything related to ecology or like protecting the earth and people from, you know, kind of oil spills and various things like that are, you know, big corporate or whoever is kind of doing things to like damage the earth. So Erin Brockovich was at least from what I'm aware from the film. I haven't read anything about her recently, so I hope this is kind of you know, you won't take it too literally, in case she's, I don't know if she's gone off and done something different now, but anyway, at least from the film, she was like battling against, you know, she was bringing law cases against a big corporation who were polluting the water supplies for a local town. So, you know, it could be that kind of thing. It's like that protector energy is what I'm getting with those kind of wings over the earth, like really protecting the earth, protecting, you know, the people on the earth from you know, environmental issues, campaigning about environmental issues. That could be something you're very passionate about, and something that is part of your highest purpose to bring awareness about that, or do mentorship or something like that around those kind of things. So those are the kind of sort of two sides I'm picking up. Some of you might be more on the side of campaigning and awareness and information and things related to being very passionate about ecology, and others of you are more sort of along the lines of being like an earth healer, using earth energies or like crystals, animals, nature, things like that. So let's get a little bit more of an idea of what other energies are coming through from the Akashic records about your life purpose. Hope, blessed, you're beautiful. Yeah, so I'm getting with hope that this is something you help people to reconnect with, a sense of hope. So I guess whether you are in either sort of band of like, you know, working with people, healing them, especially if you are doing some kind of like work to help people with addiction issues, or mental health issues, or people maybe who have depression or struggle to connect to community or something, you help people feel a sense of hope again. You help restore their sense of hope. It's like with Yule, this is the energy of like the light is at its dimmest, right? So you might be someone who connects with people when they're at their kind of darkest moment. Because Yule marks that very point where the end of the year, the light is at its darkest, just before it just starts to turn around and the nights start to get a little bit longer again in the middle of winter kind of thing. So Yule happens around the 21st of December in the Northern Hemisphere, and I think it's around like 21st of July, I guess, in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's that real point of like, it's genuinely that energy of like the darkest before the dawn kind of thing. So you may be someone who, like, say for example, if you kind of more connect with that environmental warrior energy, like you're someone who's going to give hope because you're going to come in and be this protectress warrior kind of person, or protector warrior person, to come in and like be like, okay, yeah, the climate crisis is real, it's really bad, we are at our darkest point in humanity, but if we do this, this and this, we can really change things, we can turn things around, we can, make an impact, we can improve things, we can protect the earth, we can save the earth kind of thing. So you're going to give hope in some way. I don't feel like you write books about this kind of stuff that is just totally bleak and doesn't give any kind of any sense of like practical steps people can do or practical things that need to happen. I don't think you're just like looking at the negative light of any of this stuff, in whatever form it is that you work in and whatever platform it is that you bring about this earth work that you're going to be doing. I feel like you are definitely going to be someone who's going to be that like light in the darkness, that little candle in the darkness during very bleak times. So yeah, again, whether that's like collectively to do with the environmental crisis or individually to do with healing people or healing groups of people, or whatever it is that your specific calling is related to the earth, you are going to provide a strong sense of hope for people who are in a dark state, in dark times. So that is very beautiful energy. Next we have, yes, this is kind of confirming that I feel like with Crazy Lace Agate and Sunflower, it's like you are this ball of sun for people, and it's got play, more fun, jokes and laughter, please. So yeah, and whichever sort of modality you go down, I feel like you're going to be a ray of sunshine for people. Like you are just someone who, you provide so much hope for people, you provide so much light for people, you're such a light worker in that sense. You are going to bring a sense of fun and lightness to them. So maybe as part of your work, especially if you say work with animals, or like you take people out in nature, maybe part of that is like helping people who struggle, with day to day, or struggle with mental health, or struggle with depression or something like that. You help them find light again. You help them find the light at the end of the tunnel after a period of darkness. Maybe even as well, you might help people who've gone through grief or loss, or like addictions, very dark times. You help them find their inner light. You help them find that like spark of light again within themselves, and like reconnect with a sense of fun. I'm hearing like inner child work as well. So for those of you where I definitely picked up a vibe of some of you are like counselors or therapists, or something along those lines, or you sort of weave some kind of like earth related things into your counseling. So again, possibly getting people out in nature, getting people out into, I don't know, maybe you take them to like the zoo or something, you take them to like a park, or you take them on a nature retreat and there are animals there, and they get to like ride horses and like feed the lambs or something. I don't know. These are just silly examples, but like you just help people find that like inner child self again, with like you maybe even do something like art therapy, right? And like help them just like draw silly pictures. And because I'm just thinking with these like sunflowers, it's giving me that vibe of how kids draw like those big sort of over exaggerated flowers. It's kind of like that energy of like you just help people find that light, that brightness, that like sense of like fun, that sense of being an inner child again, of being spontaneous, of being able to connect with like that inner brightness. Yeah, you can see inside these sunflowers there's these like pearly it's kind of like a pearlescent kind of energy, like circle, and then there's like a spark of light. So yeah, again, it's kind of the same thing I was saying about that hope, where you help people connect with that little spark of light that's within them, that sense of hope. Maybe if you're, say, a writer or something, like for the example of being like an environmental warrior or something, maybe you write in a really humorous way, like you bring people's attention to these issues, and because you're just really funny or something. Or you could be even like a stand-up comedian or something, and you could just, you know, like give talks about this kind of thing, but you're hilarious, and like, you know, you raise issues because and in a way that's really impactful because you're really, really entertaining. Or you could even do this on social media or something. But I just feel like more generally that's your energy, and that's something that Goddess Sophia or your guides want to highlight to you, that you can really use this. Like, you can bring people a lot of like support when you bring them under your wing. You can help them like find that sense of light within, that inner child. You can help them to loosen up, help them to find their joy again, help them to see the like fun side of life again, especially if they've been through something really bleak or really dark. And also help them to shine their inner light as well. I'm getting like strong solar plexus chakra energy from this card, which is related to shining your light and being able to like be your authentic self and be confident and have self-esteem, and like, yeah, just like, yeah, basically like feel comfortable coming out into the light and shining your true light. I feel like that's something that you may not even see that you do that yourself necessarily yet, but I feel like you kind of just do by virtue of being yourself. And as a result of doing that around people, this mentor kind of energy, it's like that rubs off on them, and it helps them activate their solar plexus chakra, so they're comfortable being themselves, they're comfortable being authentic, they're comfortable being in their true nature. Because that's the kind of vibe I get from you with this earth magic. It's like, you know, you can see this person here, she's just like out in nature. She's got nature wrapped around her arm, literally, and her arm's like up in the sky, kind of like, she's very relaxed, very like, whoo, like surrendered, kind of very just being herself. And sorry, I'm using a female pronoun here, but this is however you identify. It's just there's a, that's what I'm picking up from this particular card, but that's just the energy. So regardless of how you identify, I feel like it's just that energy of stepping into being yourself, being your true self, being comfortable being in your own skin, being comfortable being your true nature, expressing your true nature. And then that kind of like, it's like you guide people, like, it's not even like you even directly guide people to do that, it's like you just model that. I feel like you just are that for people, and then that sense of hope, sense of like inner light just rubs off on people, I feel like. Next we have solitude. Wow, yeah, I feel like for some of you, if you, especially if you are some kind of energy healer, especially for those of you that well, I guess even as well, if you're some kind of environmental warrior, you do a lot of writing, you may need a lot of solitude as a part of this, stepping into this higher purpose. We've got, with this Blessed Yule card, it's also got a solitary figure kind of sitting in a rocking chair here. And then we've got solitude with someone sitting on a lake in a boat. So it could be that you, yeah, this is going to be something where to kind of protect your energy, you may need to have quite a lot of solitude in your life, or this may be something you already do. And you may even also help other people do that. Like, I'm kind of getting this vibe of someone who takes people out like on a boat or something, or you take people out into nature. It's almost like that goddess Artemis energy, where, you know, she's very fiercely independent, she's very connected with nature, very connected with animals. You know, she can just kind of operate in the wild world completely on her own. You know, she can operate in the wild, like she can just go out into nature and harness the energy of nature and be really comfortable being on her own, and just, she doesn't need any of the other gods or goddesses around her. She just is her. She's just on her own, just being herself. And I feel like maybe some of you may need quite a lot of solitude to like really step into this purpose in some way. You may need to like protect your energy quite a lot, but it may also be something that you help other people become more comfortable with being in solitude as well, and not seeing it as like a threat to themselves, especially if they're someone who, I'm sort of seeing a picture of people who have a lot of like addiction issues, especially around things like love addiction or codependency, or yeah, kind of, or like people pleasing, or always needing to defer to other people, or always needing to get their needs met through other people, or it could be various things like that. So again, if you're maybe something like some kind of counselor or therapist who works with groups like that, it could, one thing you could really help them with is how to embrace solitude and how to feel comfortable being in their own skin and being themselves, and standing kind of on their own 2 feet, kind of being independent, being okay being on their own. That could be another kind of strand that you work with. Next we have escapist, come home to yourself. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the vibes again of like what I was speaking about with those of you who may be working with addicts. Because the escapist energy, it's kind of like I'm getting that like Neptune vibe, and Neptune can, the planet Neptune can often rule, you know, it rules the sign of Pisces, and it can rule things like addictions in its shadow side. In its light side, it rules more things like creativity and spirituality. But generally speaking, it kind of can often be an energy that is, it's very kind of watery and fluid, and an energy that can often lead to escaping or wanting to escape. So people who have Neptune really strong in their chart can often end up being a bit like escapist, like they need a lot of stimulants or something to kind of like get out of their minds, sort of thing. Like, yeah, I'm just sort of seeing drugs or alcohol or partying, or like even like sex, or you know, and like, you know, those things to a certain extent. You know, it's like, obviously when it's an addiction, it's something that is relied upon and it becomes damaging to the individual's life. So I'm not talking about like, you know, used in small amounts or whatever. Like, obviously this is not saying sex is bad or anything. This is about, you know, if someone's doing it to an addictive point or an escapist point where they're literally escaping themselves, they're often like, disassociating as well, I'm kind of getting, which again is where like earth magic is really strong, because it's all about reaching back into the body and reaching back into the earth, and not like, woo, just going out of the mind and like just wanting to escape and get, you know, sort of escape the earth and get away from it all kind of thing. It's like there's this energy of you help people to come home to themselves, because I feel like you've come home to yourself. Like you're very, the energy I picked up straight away from the beginning is you're very at home within yourself. You're very at home in your energy. You're very grounded. You're very earthed in who you are. And that's that like mother hen energy or father hen energy kind of thing, when you can like bring people under your wing and like help them come home to themselves, help them come home to themselves. Yeah, help them. Why can't I say that? Help them come home to themselves. Yeah. Whew, weird. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. I'm just seeing 32 up here. So some of you, this higher purpose could like kick in when you're around 32 or beyond 32 years of age. So if you're younger than this, it might be something that you're still figuring some of these things out yourself, or you're still going through, I don't know, maybe you're still learning about some of this stuff, or you're still just grounding into who you really are, or you're receiving mentorship from someone else at this stage, or you're going through a healing. Maybe you've been through some addictions or through some escapist kind of behaviors or tendencies that may have been somewhat damaging in your life. I don't really feel like for very many of you, I'm not picking up a strong vibe that many of you are still in this. I feel like this is in the past, that you might have done this in the past, because I'm really overwhelmingly getting a very strong grounded energy from you. So I feel like that's something you really help people, yeah, come home to themselves. I'm also getting with the book, some of you may write a book, because we've got a book in this Blessed Yule card. I spoke about a book with the mentor as well. Some of you may write about something, and we've got a book here. So yeah, writing could be something that you may well get into. Again, when you're possibly in your 30s or something, that could be something that you do to help bring people a sense of hope. Again, especially kind of people who are going through issues with either addiction or depression or something like that. Yeah, also as well with that escapism, come home to yourself, that's also bringing to mind that kind of therapy thing, who helps people, you know, who may have mental health issues or issues with like disassociation or things like that, where they're not very at home in themselves, they're not very at home in their skin, they're not very connected to their true nature. It might have been very unsafe to have expressed their true selves in their childhood. They may have had trauma or things like that. So that may be why they're disassociating or escaping, you know. They're sort of like energetically escaping themselves, or mentally trying to escape, you know, checking out, like doing, what is it called when you do like, I can't remember what the psychological term is. It's something like where you have behaviors that aren't really helpful for staying present or something. I'm sorry, I can't remember what that term is, but I'm sure you get the idea. You help people like come back into the present moment, root back into themselves, come home to themselves, work through whatever traumas, work through whatever issues they've had, be comfortable being in their own skin, find their inner child again, heal through that, find a sense of hope and an ability to move forward. Next we have, yes, stimulation. That's so interesting. This has come out after this card. I've just spoke about, I think I said something about stimulants, like maybe helping people who, needed some kind of like stimulants to like escape, you know, so like drugs or alcohol or something like that, or some kind of, you know, like it's like they struggle to operate in the real world or something, so they would escape through certain behavioral tendencies or certain kind of other stimulants. I'm not necessarily, it's not necessarily just drugs, but just like, yeah, kind of certain behaviors, or even like things that are taking them away from being themselves. So yeah, I guess that could be like behaviors, patterns, I suppose, like certain mental health patterns or certain I guess substances, or even like an addiction to food, for example, like food that's acting as a stimulant, or like I guess like herbal things, herbal highs, certain uppers, or like things that help people like kind of get out of their mind. Yeah, so you know, party drugs maybe, or like whatever it might be, whatever's helping people to escape and like not reconnect with themselves, like that's something that you may be helping people with. And again, you know, it could be that you're running retreats around this, or you're taking people out into nature, or you're using like some sort of like healing with animals or something to help heal some of these addictions, or some of these escapist tendencies or something. Or like, yeah, I'm getting the art therapy thing again, or like just various modalities. It may be also, I'm kind of getting a vibe of like, you might create a whole new modality, like you might bridge or merge a bunch of different nature healing modalities together and create a whole new form of healing that helps people who have been going through some of these issues around like with stimulants, or with like escapist behaviors, or mental health issues, or inner child trauma, or whatever it is. It's like you're gonna pioneer a new type of therapy that's gonna like, yeah, it could be like a play. They just guided my eye to play again. It could be like play therapy, like literally you just take people out and like get them to reconnect to their inner child in some way and help them play like out in nature, or you know, with art stuff or something like that, and that's part of the healing process or something. So that is really amazing energy. You have incredible energy, pile number 1, and I feel very honored to be doing your reading about your highest life purpose. I feel like you're definitely meant to be some kind of mentor in this lifetime. Whether you do that in a very formal way, like you actually are some kind of like I said, like a therapist, or like a mentor, a guide, you know, someone who is perceived as, you know, a source of information and wisdom that people can go to, or whether you just kind of do that through just being yourself and kind of shining your light in your own way, and you just kind of are someone who, you know, like people just come and see you and they just feel so much better after being around you, and you just sharing your gifts. But I very much feel like this is something that you're going to more and more feel called towards like formalizing and doing in a more probably in a more sort of like formal way, or really shining your light out in the world, and some like putting this work out there and like on some kind of platform, or structuring it, like, you know, kind of getting, like, if it's a new modality, for example, like getting it registered or something like that. That may not be for all of you though, but I do feel like for many of you this will be something that you step into in a bigger way, and or maybe also write about as well. Maybe also this is something like, for those of you that have gone through that experience yourself, you may write a book about your experiences of like going through times where you were, you know, doing sort of escapist things, or like kind of your wild days or something, or like how you recovered from addictions or something, and how nature healed you. So that could be something that could be highlighted for some of you. Or writing a book about, like, you know, for those of you that vibed with the environmental side of it, like writing a book about, like, you know, how to help heal, you know, the steps that you've taken to help heal the connection with the earth, you know, how important it is to heal the connection with the earth, and so forth. So to finish up, we have a crystal mandala card. So we have got for you Divine Perfection with Archangel Melchizedek and selenite. Beautiful. So selenite crystal could be very useful for you. I've got some here actually. Selenite is beautiful. It's a very clearing crystal, so very cleansing crystal, cleansing and clearing. So it helps cleanse the energy of like anything it's around, like all other crystals and so forth. And I feel like that's kind of your energy. And it's like interesting how even with this sunflower card, if I can pick it up, that, oh, it's crazy, like it's lace agate, but it looks a bit like selenite. It's white and it's kind of shiny and clear and cleansing, and like it can be a detoxifying kind of crystal as well, which I feel like with what we were saying about the stimulants and kind of possibly helping people with addictions, it could be that you're that person who helps detoxify. You know, you help people clear their energy and like reconnect with their kind of source within, again, their inner child within. So I'm just going to read from the book. This is an Alana Fairchild deck, the Crystal Mandala Oracle, and it is really amazing. So I'm going to read a little bit from the guidebook. The messages are quite long, so I won't read all of it. But we bring you the gift of divine perfection. As you receive our gift, you will feel a wave of great peace move through your heart and mind. You will know you are exactly as you were divinely designed to be, that your life is proceeding in perfect timing, and that all is well. If there has been a matter causing you concern, allow us to bless that situation with the peaceful grace of the divine now. You shall receive the perfect resolution of that matter in accordance with unconditional love. There is no need to judge yourself for any decision or choice you have ever made. Forgive yourself and others now. There are so many blessings for you to receive, and no need for you to hold on to anything out of fear, shame, guilt, or regret. Free yourself as you surrender into realization of divine perfection. So it's quite a long message. Let me just see which bits I need to read out. Oh, wow. Okay, this bit I'm just being guided to say. In earth medicine, because we got earth magic for your card. So in earth medicine, the snake is considered a symbol of transformation because it sheds the skin no longer needed and emerges anew. You will feel that this happens symbolically as you grow spiritually. Through that process of transformation, you become an increasingly radiant, embodied divine being. It is similar to the acorn becoming a mighty oak tree, or the caterpillar eventually emerging as an exquisite butterfly. It is the fulfillment of your innate spiritual blueprint, and it happens as you experience change, growth, healing, and transformation. So yeah, it's kind of then just talking about the paradox of like surrendering to like allowing your spirit to kind of shine and be its true self, but then also not kind of falling into the trap of thinking like, oh, I don't have to do anything at all. It's kind of the paradox of those two things of like still growing, still being aware, discerning where you need to like level up and like still grow and do the spiritual development work, but also surrendering into like a sense of peace and alignment and like kind of calm, and that everything is unfolding in divine timing and all that kind of thing. And I just saw 444 on the clock, and fours are about foundations and like setting a strong foundation for yourself. So I feel like that's kind of what you're kind of, you're going to be doing both for yourself and for other people, helping people like come back home to themselves, which, and then I said that, I channeled that, and then I just suddenly remembered with that card, it's escapist, come home to yourself. That's exactly what you're doing. It's like, as you come home to your own self, you are then that mentor that can help other people come home to themselves as well. So yeah, let's see if there's anything else. I feel like that's all. Oh, I might just read this bit for you. If you forget about the underlying perfection, you may unnecessarily feel panic, overwhelm, fatigue, and even depression and despair when you hit a challenge on your personal journey. You may worry that you are failing, running out of time, or doing something wrong. You may forget that you are a divine being taking a journey and instead become unnecessarily worried. You are encouraged to grow and transform to the best of your ability whilst also feeling a restful peace deep inside that sustains you with trust, comfort, and reassurance that all of life, including you, is held in the grace of divine perfection. If you would like to do the healing process, I'm not going to read it all out, but I will hold it up to the camera and you can take a screenshot and do this in your own time. So I'll just let the camera focus. So it starts there. And then we've got this page here. Okay, so hopefully that focused enough. Okay, if you want to pause it and take a screenshot, hopefully that was clear enough for you. If there's any problems with that, then certainly just email me and I'll send you a picture of it. Okay, my lovely pearl ones, thank you so much for letting me read for you today. You have the most amazing energy. I'm so excited for your life purpose. I feel like some of you are already doing this, so this is just confirmation. If you are already on that path, you are on the right path, and keep going. For others of you, if this is kind of new to you, then, you know, just see what resonates, see what kind of signs and synchronicities you get over the coming weeks or months or years. And hopefully that's provided a little bit of inspiration for you of what could be possible if you want to step into your highest purpose. Always know as well, my loves, you always have free will, and it's totally your choice what purpose you step into and embody in this lifetime. I hope this resonated. Leave a comment below if it did. I always love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating at this time. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a goddess reading. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's been so lovely to read for you, Pearl One. All the best with your life journey, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Hi there, Pearl 2. Welcome to your reading on what the Akashic Records have to say about your highest life purpose. And if you chose Merlin with Cosmic Knowledge and the Labradorite Stone, this will be your reading. So right off the bat, Pearl number 2, I get the energy from this Merlin character that you guys have this real kind of Gandalf type energy going on. Even doesn't kind of matter how you identify, it's just that kind of archetype that's coming through. That archetype of being like the wise one, the sage. I'm getting this like old soul energy. I feel like you've maybe incarnated many times, and like maybe people have often told you you're so like wise for your age. Even if you're young, you just have this kind of older person sort of energy because you're just so wise. I feel like you, with all this purple here, I feel like you have a strong or a very open third eye chakra. And third eye chakra is all about like your intuition and being able to connect with the other side, having that like ability to see beyond the veil, having that ability to like receive divine wisdom and divine sight kind of thing, like being able to also connect with all the sort of clear gifts like clear audience and clear sentience and clear cognizance and clear voyance and all of those kind of things. I feel like you have all of those in spades, or like maybe if you don't have all of them, you have one in particular that's really strong, or these are things that are going to potentially wake up really strongly for you in your lifetime. I feel like I'm getting an energy of someone who is like, you're very, it's like what I'm hearing is like you're like a repository of information, like kind of esoteric information. Like you just have a lot of wisdom about spiritual subjects or esoteric subjects, or things like, you know, even things like sacred geometry or sacred sites. We've got this like picture of Glastonbury in the background. So you may be someone who knows a lot about like, yeah, geometry or ley lines or sacred sites or like mystical various like mystical, like say mythologies related to things, or like mystical experiences, like what goes on. I feel like some of you have a very strong like understanding of things like energy healing, things like the chakra system, or like different like metaphysical systems. Like I feel like you understand that there's a lot more that goes on than just like the 3D world. Like you kind of understand the world of like magic, like you understand how to say manipulate reality and how to like manifest things. So some of you may be like really into like manifesting and like using sort of teachings like law of attraction type teachings, or different kind of teachings about esoteric subjects. I'm hearing like kind of things like the Kabbalah or something like that, like sort of very ancient, or like Mesopotamian texts even. These are very specific things, so you'll have to comment below if any of this is resonating at all for some of you. Obviously it's a general reading, so I'm going to pick up quite a few different messages and just take what resonates and leave the rest. But so some of you, I'm kind of getting more of a vibe of like you're a healer and you do like energy healing work, and you work with energies, and you know how to like say intuitively receive wisdom, or intuitively receive healing information to kind of help others, like either help yourself or help your family or help the public even. Some of you may do something like this. You may do like tarot readings, or you may even do, I'm also getting like other forms of or tools, like other divination tools, or tools that help people step into like their true selves, like things like astrology. Because I'm getting with this cloak he's got, hopefully you can see, there's all the little signs of the zodiac, all the symbols of the zodiac all around. So yeah, things like, I feel like you understand like the like symbolism of a lot of like esoteric symbols and things. So yeah, some of you may well be tarot readers, or you work with astrology, or you're meant to like teach something like that. You're meant to like teach this wisdom, share this wisdom, like teach astrology, or teach tools of divination, or teach a lot of this esoteric wisdom that you have, or this like these like magical skills that you have, or healing abilities that you have. I just feel like, yeah, I'm just picking up a very like the way he's holding his kind of like scepter here. It's kind of like this guide energy. It's like you are a guide for others. Like you're a guide that helps heal others. You're a guide that helps bring light as well. We've got the moon here, which is all about like illumination and like bringing hidden things into the light. So I feel like you're someone who brings hidden knowledge, hidden wisdom, hidden healing concepts or whatever into the light, like things that might have been driven underground or made a cult, or like just hidden or whatever. It's like you can access that wisdom very easily. It comes very naturally to you. And if it hasn't already, it might be something that wakes up for you a little bit later in life, because with this Merlin energy, he is kind of quite sort of an older character in some ways. So it may take you many decades to kind of like come into a point where you're confident enough to like really be sort of a leader or a healer, or like claim this for yourself, like really kind of put that stuff in the ground and be like, yes, this is me, this is what I do. Some of you may not. It might just be something that happens like in your second half of life, and maybe that you have another career earlier on, and then once you're in your like 40s or 50s or something, you start to like explore this more deeply. Like suddenly something, maybe after your Saturn return or something like that, things change and you start to get more drawn in more and more and more into this like esoteric world, and you start learning more about kind of, yeah, like symbolism and like, yeah, chakra healing, or like different kinds of healing systems or modalities, or like even like with the moon, it could be like doing sort of moon rituals to manifest things, or like different sort of systems of meditation, for example, even like different systems of yoga, or that type of thing, if you know what I mean, like kind of esoteric things or healing modalities, or using your intuitive wisdom and sharing that with people. I feel like that is something that you're going to do, or that is something that is like your highest purpose to step into. But it may well take like a little bit of time for you to fully own that. But I feel like that is something that is like, that archetype is kind of already in you. It's just a case of like removing any blocks that are in the way of like you being able to connect with that. But once you're connected with it, it's just part of you. It's like who your soul is. It's like that archetype is already there waiting just to be expressed. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. So let's have a look at what else is coming through from the Akashic records for you. So we have got yes, the healer. Yeah, exactly. And interestingly, we've got these kind of greeny, shimmering, sort of crystally kind of things on top of this stone, and they are, to me, they look a lot like labradorite, and I was intuitively drawn to picking the labradorite crystal for you. This was your selection crystal, and labradorite is all about like transformation and like magical, like it's a very healing stone. It's a very magical stone. It helps you connect in with like your intuitive self. It helps you to connect in with like if you wanted to step into that kind of priestess or priest kind of role, like in a esoteric sense, in a spiritual sense, like be able to divine wisdom or impart wisdom. It can really activate that sense. It can help transform. It can help you to like alchemize and transform from any darkness you've been through, and kind of alchemize that and use it for good as well. And we've got, along that same themes, we've got this snake here, and snakes are all about rebirth. They're all about shedding skin, shedding an old skin, right? They go through that shedding of an identity and they literally rebirth themselves. And I feel like that's something that you are able to do, and something that you may well go through in your lifetime. As I mentioned, some of you, it may be when you're a little bit older that you'll step into this archetype more fully. So it may be that you have to shed a skin of like an old identity, and this new skin that's going to come out, this new archetype that's going to come through is this archetype of the healer, where you're just fully in your power, like being able to impart this like healing wisdom to people. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. It's interesting, this particular snake has got like 3 heads, which just makes me think of like that Trinity, which for me really brings up like the divine feminine trinity, so maiden, mother, crone. So you may help people. Part of the healing you may do is some sort of like healing around transitions and transformations, like helping women in particular go through like transitions into motherhood, or like healing and transformation around transitioning from maidenhood to motherhood, or motherhood to crondom, or something kind of along those lines. Like different life phases could be something significant. There's a lot of pink energy here as well, which also makes me think of like divine feminine, or like very unconditional loving energy. And we've also got yellow, which is the color of the solar plexus, which is all about standing in your confidence, like having that self-esteem to shine your light and like step into your power of who you really are. So I feel like, there's going to be a bit of a shedding of old skin, a sort of a rebirth, a transformation that's going to allow you to really shine your light, to really come into this energy of being able to be a healer and be able to like give that sort of support and that love and that nurturance to people. We've also got that sort of mother of pearl energy behind her as well, which is again another symbol of the divine feminine. So some of you may well be stepping into a kind of like, even though this is a masculine figure here, you may be stepping into, it doesn't really matter how you identify, this isn't about gender, regardless of what gender you identify as, you may well be stepping into divine feminine energy or feminine healing energy, or using, especially because also Merlin is guardian of like the wisdom from Avalon, and Avalon is very divine feminine. So it's kind of like this specifically like a strand of like some kind of feminine healing or divine feminine healing. So this could be, some kind of very like using very intuitive healing methods, using very like energetic healing methods, or specifically working with like women and children, or even like in childbirth or something like that. I'm also seeing an eye here as well, which again is kind of reminding me of the third eye I spoke about with the color purple. This is connected with your third eye. So I feel like you're going to have like a third eye chakra awakening. Your third eye is going to be very strong, very open. So you're going to be very connected with your intuition. So I feel like you will be kind of like an intuitive healer. Like you'll be someone who kind of just intuitively draws this wisdom down in some way, and it helps heal people. Again, whether that's through like just sharing information, whether it's through like tarot readings, through like and doing an astrology chart for someone, through doing an actual like chakra healing session, whatever it is you're going to do, it's going to be very healing for people and very transformative for people. Let's get a little bit more of information about what's coming through from the Akashic records. Yes, January's rebirth. Absolutely. I spoke about rebirth with the snake. So yeah, this is just another confirmation of that rebirth energy. We've also got like a raven or a crow here, which they're some symbolic of like being messengers from spirit. So again, I feel like you might go through a bit of a rebirth, a bit of a transformation, a third eye chakra awakening. If you haven't already, some of you may already be well past this stage. You may be already in your being a healer kind of archetype, or being like a wise person archetype, wise woman, wise man, however you identify. You might already be stepped into that, in which case this is just confirmation that you are on the right path, baby. But you may well find that you start awakening more and more to this like intuitive wisdom, and getting messages from spirit. So you might find even like, you know, this person's kind of up late at night, it looks like. So maybe you're getting messages in the middle of the night, you're getting messages in your dreams, you're getting messages whenever you walk past someone. It's like maybe you're getting healing information. You could be like a medical medium or something like that. I'm picking up as well someone who can just like, there's a guy, what's his name? Is it Anthony something? You can look him up. If you look up Anthony and then medical medium, I'm sure he'll come up because he's quite famous, I think, but I can't remember his surname. But anyway, you know, I listened to a funny video from him actually, where he kind of was like low-key complaining about this gift, because suddenly it just kind of woke up one day where he would just like walk past people in the street and just get all this information about like their medical issues, or like, you know, what was going on for them. And it's like, like I can't switch it off. Like what is, you know, like he just has all this information all the time. And something like that might happen for you. Like you might have already been very intuitive, even as a child. As I said, a lot of you are very wise, and you might have always had people say like, oh, you're wise beyond your years or something. And so you may have like just always had intuitive information coming through, but it may get more specific around a specific healing modality, or like a specific form. Like you may start getting like a lot of kind of astrological information, or you may start like seeing a lot of symbols or synchronicities, or you may start getting, like the medical medium example, or just even like spiritual information. Like one thing that I often get for people is, and it started happening like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, like a lot of information about exactly what I'm reading about right now, people's highest purpose, like almost like being able to access the Akashic records, or like that sort of esoteric library of information, like having that access to divine wisdom, and it would just come through unbidden. It's not like I wanted to or wanted to know. It just kind of connects. Like I just get it, just comes in. It's just information that's just kind of there, and I have to kind of discern and work out like only when people ask for it, or like when it's the right timing. It's why I'm kind of channeling that energy into doing these readings, because then it's like the right outlet, right, to kind of put this information out there for those who actually want to know. It's not like something I'm going to go up to someone on the street and be like, hey, by the way, I just got a little third eye download that you should be a doctor or something. No. So like, but you might find strange things like that start happening if they haven't already, where you just get a lot of downloads, a lot of like third eye awakening stuff. Like a lot of intuitive information comes to you, a lot of stuff that you can just sense, that you just you get, because I feel like you're very connected with some kind of like esoteric library, almost like you are like, it's like you are like a walking divine library. Like you are like a walking library of information of some sort, whether it's sort of healing information, esoteric information, spiritual information, whatever it might be, or maybe all of those things. It might be a blend of lots of different things. But yeah, I feel like you are going through a bit of a rebirth of and actually I'm noticing here as well, she's got all these books around her. So yeah, reading, or even writing a book. It looks like she's writing here. So writing a book could be something that might be highlighted for you as part of your highest purpose as you step into this, where you literally like give people healing information or something, and help that helps people go through their rebirth as well. Also with the it looks like a wolf in the background here, and kind of a very wild sort of like nature out, like a forest and so forth, that she's looking through this window out at this like wild scene. And I feel like that's part of like, you're going to go through a phase, maybe a rebirth, where you're connecting with your like that inner wild person within, and you also help other people to connect with that part of themselves, so that they can like hear their intuition, and they can hear the truth of that, like I guess like their truth. They can just hear, they can connect with that innate wisdom, that like inner teacher, that in literally intuition is like inner teacher, as opposed to like conventional wisdom or like what society teaches. So that might be something as well that is part of this rebirth, or part of what you help people to go through a rebirth to do. So yeah, really amazing energy. Let's see. We have also got green epidote and star jasmine. Restructure, identifying, reframing, and enhancing. Yeah, I feel like you like are going to do something around restructuring, or like reframing some kind of like, whether it's a healing modality or like some kind of information or something. There's a lot of here. We've got like rebirth, restructure, reframe. So redoing something, like refiguring something out, like bringing something that might have been done a certain way and then like reframing it to be done in a better way or something. So maybe this is healing. So instead of like you going down, like say, for example, a traditional conventional medicine route, maybe you have very healing energy, and for a while you might have tried to go down that route, but it didn't really suit you because you were getting a lot of like intuitive wisdom through. And so you're going to take a lot of that traditional healing information or traditional conventional medicine training that you've had or something, and you're going to restructure it, reframe it, bring in a lot more like intuitive stuff, bring in a lot of like sort of like rebirth it, or like bring this wisdom out in a different way, like, you know, merge it with more unconventional healing techniques or modalities, like I said, like chakra healing could be something that you do, you know, sort of more energetic healing modalities, or bringing in like more holistic modalities, or bringing in more like spiritual, like realizing that like, you know, you can have a spiritual illness or like a mental or like emotional based issue that can then manifest as an illness in the physical body. So it's kind of getting people to start seeing, you know, like reframing their experience so that they can start seeing like the root of an illness. Just as an example, that's just kind of what I'm picking up, and that may not be at all what you're going to do. It may be something completely different, but there's something around like rebirthing something, reframing something. Yeah, like going through a phase of like identifying what it is you want to work with, and or like what field you want to work in, and how you're going to enhance it. It's like whatever wisdom, whatever modality, whatever healing, whatever system, whether it's like a system of astrology, for example, or a system of tarot, or a system of some kind of healing. It's like you're gonna bring your own take on that. You're gonna bring your own intuitive wisdom on that, and you're gonna like enhance it and make it better. You're gonna improve it for everyone. You're gonna like rewire it, kind of thing, so that it's got like your like Paltu's stamp, like Paltu's like flavor and vibe in it, so that it's more accessible to people, maybe. Or like, you know, because I was saying with the moon, it's like illuminating hidden information. So maybe you bring a lot of like, yeah, sort of healing wisdom that, you know, may even be from some ancient culture that's been buried for like thousands of years, and you're gonna like somehow you're gonna discover this stuff, and then you're gonna bring it to light and like, you know, translate it, or like reframe how it can be used in like, say, a traditional setting, or like how people can still access it in modern life or something. So there's something around like reframing something, kind of making something work in a better way. This could also be like just more generally, even within your own life. You may do that like for yourself. I'm also picking up like life coach as well, or like some kind of coach, some kind of like or even like a business coach or a business mentor or a like life purpose coach or mentor or something. Like you may help like identify what limiting beliefs are holding people back. And then and we can see this person, she's been like writing in like a journal possibly, so it's like, write down all your limiting beliefs, and then like we're gonna let go of those, and we're going to connect with our original selves. We're going to let go of all our conditioning, and we're going to like rebirth ourselves, and with the snake, and reframe and like restructure our lives, and we're going to align with like our higher self. So it's like you might coach people into like some sort of rebirth. You might coach people let go of limiting beliefs or something like that. So green epidote crystal could be a useful one for you, as well as labradorite. So yeah, both kind of greeny crystals may be helpful. Let's see what else we've got. Villain, you can always rewrite the story. Interesting. Yeah, so there's more about we've got another so we've got rebirth, restructure, and rewrite. So you're like remaking something, I feel like, Pal, too. Like you're taking some kind of old wisdom, ancient ideas, or esoteric wisdom or intuitive wisdom, and you're like reusing it, repurposing it for something else, for like your own story. I'm also getting with that rewrite the story, I'm kind of getting a vibe of someone who maybe does some kind of counseling or therapy, right? And you help your clients or whatever. Or again, this could be a kind of life coaching type thing. You help your clients like rewrite their life story, like rewrite, the story they tell themselves. You help them sort of work out who they really want to be. Like maybe they're struggling to kind of self-actualize or something in some way, or they've been living under maybe they've been, I don't know, possibly, I'm just getting an example here, some people might have been like in an abusive relationship or something, because with villain it's making me think of like maybe these people have been around people who were really bad for them or something, or like a negative parenting or something like that, and you're going to help them like rewrite their story, because maybe that's something you've had to heal within yourself. Because I feel like with the healer archetype, it's very much that energy of like the wounded healer, sort of like, and I'm getting with the astrology chart Chiron. So some of you, it may be worthwhile, if you don't already know where your Chiron is, to have a look at where Chiron is in your birth chart. Most birth charts now bring it up, but sometimes you have to like manually look for it and tick it to get it to show up on your birth chart, because Chiron is all about the wounded healer. It's that energy of like, you've been through something that you've had to heal, and as a result of that, you've gone through this sort of rebirth and like transformation and gained all this like healing wisdom that you can now use, and you're meant to now use to help other people with like their spiritual transformation or their rebirth or their like rewriting their story kind of thing. So it's like kind of that idea of you're not meant to kind of just have gone through all those experiences for nothing. It's like if you went through difficult things, if there was some kind of villain in your life or something, it's like you had to kind of go through that like death and rebirth cycle so that you could help others with rewriting their story. And also kind of like what I'm getting is singing their song as well, because with all these music notes, it's kind of like I'm getting like Ariel in The Little Mermaid, like kind of she sold her voice, I think, to the sea witch, to Ursula, and then like at the end she gets it back, and well, at least in the Disney movie she does. And like she can actually tell Eric she loves him, whereas before she's kind of mute. So maybe that's part of what you do. You help people to, part of the healing that you do is to help people like connect with their voice, connect with their true selves, with their true story, and like bring that story out, because maybe that's something you've had to do for yourself. Also with the number 38, this could be something that happens for some of you around the time of when you're 38, that this like awakening, or this you'll start to step into this purpose. So maybe, again, I spoke of this might be something that happens later in life for you, like you don't fully actualize your life purpose or your highest life purpose until a little bit later in life, like maybe in your late 30s, some of the things that you might need to learn might happen earlier on, like it might even be in your 20s or your early 30s, that some of the like difficult experiences or the learning experiences or the healing that you're meant to learn about happens a bit earlier, but it might not be till your late 30s that you fully like utilize that and step into the like healer aspect of being a wounded healer. Let's see what else we've got. We've got freedom. Yeah, I think this is kind of similar to the like helping people with rewriting the story and kind of find their voice and like, yeah, free their voice kind of thing. And like we've got freedom here. It's like you help people to find their wings so that they can fly. You help people free themselves from any like structures or towers, like conventional learning that may have been blocking them or like may not have worked for them. So for example, if you're like, say for the example of an intuitive healer, say you help people who they might have gone to like conventional medicine for some kind of treatment and it didn't really work fully for them, or it gave them a lot of bad side effects or something, and so then you help free them from those side effects, or you help free them from their illness because you heal them in some more energetic way that gives them that freedom. Or like in the life coaching example or something, you help free them from limiting beliefs, so that gives them those like wings to be able to fly. Or like maybe if you're a business coach, for example, you might do something around like helping people have like a more sort of independent or like laptop lifestyle kind of thing, like digital nomad I'm getting, or something like just to help create more freedom. I also picked up a vibe at the beginning of someone who does like manifesting or helping you know, like using kind of laws like law of attraction and law of assumption and all that kind of thing to like manifest things. Like manifest freedom could be something that's like really highlighted for you, and you're going to manifest that for yourself and then possibly help others to manifest that freedom in their life as well. I feel like whatever this healer role is, or whatever specific modality you go into, it's going to afford you a lot of freedom. Maybe your travel as well with the birds and the flying. It's like you may well travel, so you may go through a period of being quite from being quite sort of entrapped and a bit like in a hermity mode of like healing and learning and reading everything you can about something, to then like, you know, restructuring, sort of like maybe going back to school, learning something else, learning some alternative things, and then from there you're able to like spread your wings and kind of, you can travel, you can move around, like you've got that freedom to kind of like take your healing work out on the road or like work with other people or something like that. So let's see, we have got next clarity. Yeah, we've got another like with the triangle and the eye here. This is again what I was saying about the third eye at the beginning. Like you have very open third eye chakra, so you're very hyper aware, or not really hyper aware, but you're very connected. You're very connected to your intuition. You have a lot of like clarity of thought. I feel like you're very good at like connecting to that sense of like your inner wisdom and being able to like clearly share that information, clearly share what you're kind of getting through, what you're seeing. So again, I'm kind of getting a vibe of like a tarot reader or someone who's like clairvoyant, you know, so they specifically work with their third eye, like they have like inner visions or something. They sort of see things before they happen or something. But yeah, you just have a lot of like, I feel like as a result of you going through and creating a lot of clarity for yourself and your life and getting really clear on who you are, you're going to be able to then help other people in turn. Like that's part of like being the wounded healer. Like once you step into that healer archetype, like you're able to help bring that, like have that other people have that rebirth, to rewrite their story, to find their freedom and to find their clarity on what is like aligned for them. And we've got the number 1 here, which is all about alignment, like being aligned with yourself. Like who are you? What is an alignment for you? Putting yourself first, that kind of thing. So especially for those of you who resonated with like helping people who have gone through like say abusive relationships or something, with that villain card, like helping people like get out of being connected with someone who's really toxic or something and rewrite their story. It's like, yeah, you're going to help them put themselves first. You're going to help them find that clarity. You're going to help them listen to their inner wisdom, their intuition, so that they can like move forward in their life. So really beautiful energy, pal. number 2. So to finish off, we've got the Crystal Mandala Oracle card, and for you we got Grace with a Grand Gesture with Archangel Raphael and Malachite. Yeah, so again, green crystals. We've got labradorite, epidote, and malachite. So a lot of green, which is connected with the heart chakra, which is all about like unconditional love, or like relationships, love, doing something that you love. So I feel like this purpose will be something that you absolutely love. It will be something that will come from your heart. It's something that you're very like emotionally invested in. And also wearing the color green, or green, anything like green crystals, green objects, green jewelry. Wearing green could be a very significant color for you. And we've got the green on top of this carrot here as well. So green is very significant. But let me read from the book about Grace for the Grand Gesture, because these books are really amazing. This is Alana Fairchild. I would highly recommend her. This deck in particular, it's very activating. So it's a very long message, so I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'll hold up the healing process to the camera for you to take a screenshot of. So we bring you the gift of grace for the grand gesture. Although there are times when even the smallest act, such as choosing to think a positive thought, is enough to transform your world, there also comes a time for the leap of faith, the grand gesture of unconditional trust that will free you from the past, freedom, free you from the past, and empower the universe to gift you with a new future. Rewriting the story. Exactly. Rebirth, a new future. Exactly. The grand gesture is the big step, the willingness to say to the universe, I trust you and I know it is time for life as I trust you and I know it is time for life as I have known it to give way for a bigger, bolder experience, and I am willing to allow you to lead me into it. You then make an offering which confirms your declaration and empowers the universe to reward the faith you have demonstrated. The grand gesture cannot be forced. If it comes from a place of should or uncertainty, then you are not ready. The grand gesture must be unconditional. It must be something you offer, not for what you can get in return, although the rewards will be rich, but because you are willing to offer something of yourself in service to love. Yes, what was I saying about with all the green and then connecting with your heart chakra? This has got to come from the heart. This has got to be in service. Absolutely. When it comes from this place, the grand gesture is a trigger for divine grace to express itself in your life in an entirely new way, surpassing all expectations and showering you with blessings. So because it's a really long message, I'm just going to see if there's anything else they want me to read out for you. Okay, this bit, which is connected, I feel like it's connected with this rebirth. So if you have made leaps in the past and landed flat on your face rather than gracefully on your feet, leave that behind you now. Everything you have experienced in your life has led you towards this moment in time. You are not the same person you were before. You are stronger, wiser, and more ready for the beautiful adventure life has in store for you. You have an opportunity at this time to take a leap of faith, and the universe is urging you ahead. You may feel afraid or uncertain if you listen to your mind. Give some love to your mind. It might need your comfort and reassurance. Then listen to your heart and make your grand gesture with full faith in the grace that surrounds you now. So here is the healing process. I'll hold it up to the camera. If you want to pause just get the camera to focus for you. There we go. Hopefully that's in focus. So if you want to pause the video so you can take a screenshot, and then you can do the healing process in your own time when you are in the right space to be able to do that. That may help you to see what might unfold. I would be very intrigued to hear if you feel comfortable sharing. So I'm going to leave your reading there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. Pile number 2. Leave a comment in the box below if it resonated. I always love to hear from you if you feel comfortable sharing. Hit the like button if you enjoy this content. It helps tell me which content you guys are is resonating for you guys at the moment, what you're enjoying. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the Els Temple community. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a goddessy reading. And thank you so much for being here. All the best with your life purpose, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, part number 3. If you chose the Norse goddess Hel with end of a cycle and the scoria or lava stone crystal, this will be your reading on what the Akashic records say about your highest life purpose. So, pile number 3. Wow, the energy I get from you is such a warrior energy. I feel like with Goddess Hell, what I'm getting specifically through for you, pile 3, is that you are someone who has absolutely been through it. Like, you have been through hell and back, is what I'm getting. And it's like, Goddess Hell can see both sides. Like, she can exist in that like netherworld between both the underworld and kind of the real world, like, because she's kind of been down to the depths, she's been down to the underworld, and she can see sort of both sides kind of thing. She can sort of be that like gatekeeper between the two, or like be that strong space between those who have to, it's kind of, I'm getting almost a bit like Hecate energy, like those who need to go down into the underworld to understand some kind of darkness that they've maybe been through. So this could look like something like being, say, a psychotherapist or something, or a counselor, or like some sort of especially someone who works with someone who's been through abuse. That's very strongly what I'm getting. So trigger warning here, if you are going through any kind of abuse, particularly domestic abuse, I'm getting this reading may be a little bit triggering if you haven't fully healed this. For most of you, though, I feel like this is something that's happened in the past, and you've most likely gone through the healing that you've had to go through. It's like you've already gone through hell and back kind of thing. Like, you have gone through the hard shit and survived it. That's what I'm getting. It's like you are a survivor. You're a survivor of like abuse of some sort, or you're a survivor of some very difficult things, some very painful situations. If it's not like directly some kind of abusive situation, then you've just survived a lot in your life. Could even be like a survivor of war, or just some kind of hell. It's like you've been through hell and back, like you've been through the darkness, you've been through the underworld, like you've had to like face your demons, you've had to like be at rock bottom in some way. Like maybe you've just lost everything or something. Like maybe you've been through a terrible fire or something. I'm getting a really strong like phoenix rising energy for some reason. I feel like this is more symbolic rather than literal. I don't think, I mean, maybe someone might have, I really hope that hasn't happened. You've gone through like an actual fire. I hope that isn't the case, but I feel like it's more metaphorical. Like you've gone through like the fire of hell kind of thing. Like you've gone through something symbolic of that. Like you've been burned away, something's burned you, but you've been able to rise up even stronger as a result of that pain, or that suffering, or that burning, or that abuse, or whatever it was that happened to you. It's like that burned away kind of it burned away a part of you that wasn't like the truth of who you really were, in a way. Like it burned away a lot of like an old identity. It burned away a part of you that you don't really need in this new part of your life. It's like you had to let go of a lot of that. It had to strip your identity back, kind of thing, by going through that like underground process, going through that underworld process that like stripped back a lot of things that you didn't actually need. And you've now risen like a phoenix rising so much stronger. Like literally phoenixes like rebirth themselves from the ashes, right? Like they're completely burned, and that it's just fire, and then it goes down to ashes, and then like the phoenix just rises again from that process of like death and destruction. So I definitely feel like you've gone through some kind of like significant ending, significant death process, significant like something being burned down, something being significant being taken away from you, some significant loss, some significant like, I'm hearing like kind of damage, like possibly damage to your psyche. So maybe some of you underwent something like verbal abuse, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, kind of being gaslit, various things along those lines, possibly physical abuse, even domestic abuse, other kind of traumas. This could have been quite something you sustained for quite a period of time, either in your childhood, or this could have been something in a relationship, possibly both, even for some of you. I do very much strongly get a strong vibe of many of you may have been through, or some of you may have been through actual domestic violence situations, or abuse situations, or just like very, very, very difficult, dark, toxic relationships, or things that were very like, I'm hearing possibly very controlling, where there was just, it just felt very dark, like you couldn't get out. Maybe you felt trapped in some way in this sort of very dark environment. It felt like this other person kind of like put your light out in a way. I'm so sorry for those of you that have been through this. I have been through a very difficult narcissistic abusive relationship in the past myself, so I do, when I pick up this energy, I do feel your pain, and I can feel what you've been through, and also how tough you are and how much strength it requires to survive something like that and to grow back and to like come back stronger. But I do feel like for those of you who've gone through anything like that, that like, even if you haven't already gone through your like phoenix rising, that is coming for you. It's like you are going to have this light side to counterbalance. Like you are going to be able to feel good things again, or you are going to be able to attract fortunate things into your life. It's like, yes, you have been through this darkness, but also a lot of that darkness happened to kind of like awaken you to your intuition. Because with this, like, I don't know if you, hopefully you can see it okay on the card, there's this like raven here, like on her head kind of thing, and this eye is like kind of whited out. Like this eye is like looking into the like the regular world, like the 3D world, and this eye is like glazed, like it's just connected with this raven, like this part of you that had to go through that death and rebirth, that underworld experience, and that sort of phoenix experience of being burned down to ashes and having to rise back up. That old part of you, that old identity is gone, and what's replaced it is this part of you that's super connected with your intuition. It's like super powered, super fired up, your intuitive side of yourself, and like this side of you that can also like handle anything now because you're so much stronger for what you had to go through. It's like you're so tough, you're so resilient, like you can see, I feel like you can sense and see energy, and you can like, you're very protected now. It's like you can connect with like you can discern energy so much better. So like you can connect with like your intuitive side and receive like messages from spirit to be able to tell, to be able to like, it's almost like I'm getting the energy of like for those of you that might have seen the comedian Eliza Schlesinger, I think her name is, and she talks about like scanning for abnormalities, and it's like you can do that now with people. It's like you can scan for like toxic people, you can scan for like people who are really dark. It's like you've got that counterbalance where you can see both sides now, and you're not scared of it. It's like you're able to like hold space for that, and you're able to like, I feel like one thing for some of you, that's part of your highest purpose, and you can, this may not be for all of you, you can choose whether you want to step into this. For some of you, this may be too triggering. For some of you, it may be something you're already doing. For others of you, it may be something you grow into when you're a little bit older. But I do feel like this is something you're going to help other people who have gone through something similar with. So one of the themes in a lot of the readings today was that a lot of like what you've been through in the past is something that you're going to like alchemize and then use to help heal others or work with others in the future. And I very much feel like that is definitely the case for you, even if it's not like 100% exact working with people who've gone through the exact same kind of situation or even the exact same type of abuse or trauma or whatever that you went through. But you're going to use those, the learning and the energy and that example of like having to like go down into the depths and like, you know, sort of heal your psyche, heal your spirit, like come back to life, like rebirth yourself back to life again. Just from learning how to do that and from having gone through that is going to give you this capacity to have so much more like a much stronger connection with your intuition and an ability to like hold space for others in some way. So again, whether it's exactly working with people who've gone through the exact same kind of thing, like possibly setting up, for example, like a domestic abuse treatment center, or like helping with like maybe doing counseling or support or something for women or people who've gone through some kind of abuse like that, helping them get back on their feet, or like, you know, get the counseling that they need or the support that they need, or actually holding space for them, or doing retreats, or doing some kind of healing modality, whatever helped you, you know, with your rebirth process. You're then going to help others. Or it could be just more generally, you're going to use the kind of soft skills, if you like, or like the kind of skills you've had to galvanize and kind of wake up within you in order to go through that process and get yourself out of it. You're going to use that kind of like awakened intuitive, empathic energy to then be able to hold space for people in a more, possibly in a different, slightly different field, but still use that kind of empathic skill in some way, or that ability to like help people face darkness. So, you know, again, it could be like you go into just more like perhaps like being a counselor, but in general, or being like in hospice care, or being in like pastoral care, or, you know, something like that kind of thing, or like writing a book that kind of, you know, goes into like your journey, or helps with different tools for how to deal with like trauma, more generally speaking, or something like that. But at the end of the day, with end of a cycle, it's like you have had to go through some kind of extremely painful, extremely difficult cycle and end a cycle. I just keep hearing like end a cycle of abuse. This could have been something that you may have seen modeled. So you may have even grown up in an environment where perhaps one parent abused another parent or something like that. So this was kind of something that was almost like handed down, like it was possibly like generational trauma, like cycles and cycles and cycles of generational trauma in some way, where there's just been like, whether it was say some kind of narcissistic abuse that kept getting passed through, or domestic abuse that came through, or whatever it was, some kind of negative cycle that kept reoccurring. And this may have also then looked like possibly, say for example, if you experienced something like that in the home, even something like denial of your truth, or like being gaslit, or not being able to speak your truth, or fearing fearful of speaking up for your needs, or something like that, then you went out into the world, and that then sort of manifested itself in your life as you like ending up in other sort of toxic or negative environments, whether it's in the workplace, where again you struggle to speak up for yourself, you struggle to get your needs met, you get abused quite a lot in the workplace or in other relationships, or it's like you continue to perpetuate a cycle. Or maybe like, you know, you might have seen like alcohol abuse or something like that, or some kind of like substance abuse happening in the home, and then like you, again, that kind of somehow played out in your life as well, where you carried on some kind of cycle or something. It's like you carried on just like sort of self-sabotaging, or you carried on a cycle of like kind of abusing your body, like maybe taking a lot of like you know, slimming pills or something like that, or like, you know, like just something that was like self-destructive, or like going on self-destruct, like entering into self-destructive relationships, or, you know, with people who just treated you like crap, or something along those lines. And I feel like for most of you who are watching this, and I really hope this is the case, you are not still in any of those situations, and you have gotten yourself out of them, and you're either on your healing process, or you've kind of coming to the end of the cycle of healing. I feel like most of you hopefully are at that point where you've ended that cycle, you've learned how to end it, you're in that like phoenix rising, you're in that point of being able to like come back into the light and like bring all the wisdom that you've had to learn the hard way from healing the stuff, from like going through that underworld kind of process, or going through that darkness. Maybe some of you have literally had to go through like a very like a long cycle of perhaps going to therapy and like, you know, sort of like healing your demons kind of thing, like going back to some of these childhood things, and like, or like looking at things in your life, and then the therapist has helped you point out like how all the things, all the behaviors, all the patterns, all the cycles that keep recurring in your life are like linked with things from like that have been recurring from childhood, or from like, you know, generational trauma or something, and you've been really working on healing that. And maybe some of you are in a position now where you can share that wisdom, you can share that the tools that you've learned and the rebirth process that you've learned with other people. So let's get a little bit more of an idea of if that resonated. Let's get more of an idea of what's coming through from the Akashic records for you. So, also just to say with the scoria crystal as well, this is also known as lava stone, and this is a stone, you can see it's a black stone, so it's a stone of like protection, but it's also a stone of like, it literally helps like kind of like detoxify, but like more like get rid of like almost like evil energy or negative energy, like basically purge any kind of negativity, or and I'm kind of just getting with that like hell, and like having gone through hell, it like helps to purge out, yeah, like really negative or unwanted experiences, and like restore the light again, kind of thing. And like yeah, essentially like heal yourself. And with that lava, it's just making me think of like the lava stone. It makes me think of like a volcano, which is like, you know, it's kind of like when the molten lava, it's almost like angry energy, right, that like bubbles up and needs to release. And it's kind of like whatever you've had to do to let go of all that anger or all that pain or all that trauma or whatever was like trapped in your body. It's like you've had to kind of like go through some kind of process, or you may be going through it now, of getting in touch with that and letting it like bubble up and like be released, or harnessing it in some way. It's kind of like, you know, this lava stone is like, the lava created this beautiful crystal. So it's like, how can you alchemize that pain? How can you alchemize that rage? How can you alchemize that, those difficult experiences, those hellish experiences, and like create something beautiful out of it, essentially? Like alchemize it and use it for your own good is kind of the energy I'm getting. So let's have a look. We've got, wow, yes. Literally the archetype that's coming through for you is the underworld. So like you definitely know how to like make use of those kind of like underworld energies. And with all these like worms here, I'm just getting this energy of like what is it, like, oh my gosh, what's the word? Sorry, I've been channeling for a while and my brain's gone a bit mush. Like fertilizer, thank you. Fertilizer for like, you know, a mulch or whatever for like, you know, plants to grow through. It's like there's just all this stuff, like, you know, all these experiences, all these things that happen to you, it's all fertilizer for your growth. Again, it kind of links back with that phoenix energy of like rising from the ashes. It's like you're only able to rise because of like the depths of the darkness that you've been able to meet. It's only as a result of meeting those demons, of like going into the underworld, of like going into your pain. Maybe some of you may end up doing some kind of shadow work. If you haven't already, you may end up like working with a shadow work therapist or a shadow worker healer or something, to basically like, essentially that's all about like getting in touch with like aspects of your psyche that have been repressed, possibly because of abuse or like just being bullied or teased or something as a child or in a relationship. And so you've shut your light down and kind of like repressed it. And so part of this like underworld healing, or part of this kind of death and rebirth with that end of a cycle, is like going back and like going into the shadow, the repressed part of the psyche, and seeing what parts of you, what true parts of you have been pushed away and like put in a box and labeled as like bad, like, right? Or like traumatic parts of you where like they're a bit frozen because like at the time you just went into survival mode, and so certain parts of you got shut off because it was too painful to kind of get in touch with those. And so there's like aspects that are kind of like frozen within you. And so part of this like underworld healing process that you may go through, may have already gone through, or may help other people through, right, is like melting those frozen traumas, getting in touch with them and like meeting them with like light and love, and like showing them care and acceptance and nurturance, and like saying, hey, we're safe now, right? Like you're now in a safe space. That was shit then, or that was painful then, or that was hell then, but like now we're safe, so now it's time. And that may well be the thing that you do. That may well be your highest purpose, is to be that safe space for others in some way, shape or form, to provide that space for them to be able to go into the underworld and like find those traumatic parts, find those repressed parts, find those frozen parts, and like kind of sort of let them go, or like use them as fertilizer for their rebirth, use them as like to like be able to grow from those experiences, be able to like literally use them as fertilizer, like understand how to alchemize that pain into something that gives them strength, like to actually use those experiences to empower themselves in some way. And it'll be different for all of you. If you feel comfortable commenting below, please don't, don't feel pressured at all if you don't feel comfortable. But if you did, and you have some idea of how to do this, or something you've been through, to help maybe provide inspirational hope for people who haven't quite got to the end point of this stage, that could be, you know, if you feel comfortable, only if you feel comfortable. Maybe some of you are already like working with people who've gone through this, or you've created some kind of modality, or you're training in some kind of modality, or this is something you're like, yep, absolutely 100%, that's my purpose. Like, I know I'm meant to, you know, start a treatment center or start a healing center or started, you know, centered to help people who've gone through some kind of abuse or something like that. So definitely, or like some kind of specific therapy. Definitely something around helping people go through the darkness and like come out the other side is something that is like part of a kind of natural archetype that sits within you already. Then we've got, yes, Rise of the Inner Warrior with solidarity. Absolutely. And I'll just see if I can read the writing on this. It says, I shock you and rock you. I clear the way for what's to come. I can be slight or stupendous, brief or long-lasting, uproaring and uprising. What I can't be is ignored. And then we've got over here, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept, by Angela Davis. Yeah, so with this solidarity and the two kind of women and the what is that, like a tiger? I think that's a bull and that's a tiger of some sort. Fierce animals anyway. It's like you are going to be that kind. I feel like one energy that you have available to you is this energy of like being like a warrior, being like a strong rock for other people. So like you've had to kind of galvanize yourself and go through so much, and it's created like so much strength within you to have survived that and come out the other side and like regrowing yourself kind of thing. Like use that situation as fertilizer for your rebirth, for your growth, and then you're going to be able to be this like source of support for others. You're going to be able to be there for others. You're going to be able to offer them solidarity in some form, whether it's like just, you know, it could be very physical things like offering them a space physically, a center, you know, the resources in order to like get themselves out of abusive situations or toxic situations or difficult situations or traumatic situations, or you know, doing something more kind of along the lines of like a therapy or a healing or something. But I feel like you have the ability to be able to be a source of support and solidarity and like really fight for like, fight for the rights as well, possibly, of people who might have been repressed or gone through something difficult. So again, this could be like domestic abuse victims, victims of like racial attacks. You know, it could be, say for the example of, I picked up on someone who maybe was abusing like slimming pills or something. So maybe, you know, people who have been like, had body discrimination. It could be fighting for the rights of someone who's been through very severe discrimination of some sort around something like that, where you've gone through that, you've been through that like hell and back, and then now you're coming back stronger to like, you know, fight the good fight and be there for your like comrades in arms is what I'm hearing, like your other survivor victims or other victims of this, or other people who have been affected by this in some way. Let's see. So we have got Candle Quartz and Bleeding Heart. Show yourself, vulnerability, self-worth, and feminine healing. Yeah. So I feel like this is where, like, maybe for some of you, if you've been going through a period of healing and hermiting and kind of keeping yourself away, this is a call. If you have, you know, gone through your own healing, of course, and if you're not still kind of in survivor mode or trauma mode, to once you feel safe, of course, to come out and show yourself and like share your story, like have that vulnerability, and which of course requires so much strength, right? Like it requires more strength to be vulnerable than it does to be like, you know, like physically strong at something, or like just emotionally closed off and like mentally strong, whatever. It's like actually true strength comes from like true vulnerability and being able to like show yourself, show what, you know, show your wounds, show your vulnerability, show your weaknesses, show what you've been through, share your story, all that kind of thing. With self-worth and feminine healing, I feel like the like feminine healing and the two kind of female figures here with solidarity, I'm kind of getting like healing female energy, maybe something that's very like called upon for you. Like it might be something that yeah, doing some kind of divine feminine healing may be something that might be very healing for whatever you've been through, or it may be something that you offer. So maybe again, you might offer a specific type of healing for like women who've been through something. This could also look like, for example, women who have been through difficulties with. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I'm picking up like things like women have been through FGM, like female genital mutilation, or those types of things. So some of you may be in countries or affected by, even if you're not in the country where that started, you may still have been affected by something like that. Again, it's like ending a cycle of some sort of like practice or abuse that is like actually should be kind of outlawed now, because it's almost like they're protesting. So it's kind of like, and with feminine healing, it's like some kind of healing needs to happen around some kind of practice or cycle that has been inflicted upon like females specifically, like because of the nature of their gender or their sex. So like discrimination against women, or attacks on women, or you might be part of like something like maybe a culture that could often face attacks, or like Muslim culture possibly, like being attacked because of wearing like wearing certain like headdress or something like that, or certain practices related to your culture or your religion. It may be that there's been cycles of abuse that have been inflicted on like all the female members in your family because of that, or or like your generation, or like whatever it might be. It's like there's some kind of cycle of something that's related to like your feminine line, I feel like. So again, this could be like you witnessed like your mother being like the victim of domestic abuse, and then that's something that happened to you, or like you witnessed like sort of religious abuse happen, or like gender discrimination happen to people in your family that were like in the feminine line, and then that then happened to you, and then you've gone through kind of hell and back to like kind of rebirth yourself and rise up again. I just noticed it says like rise, and we were speaking of rise up with the phoenix. So there's something around like coming out, standing up for your rights, showing yourself, being prepared to be vulnerable, heal your self-worth, and like maybe some kind of healing process for your like female lineage or feminine line, or like feminine healing. This could also be something like I'm hearing if you've gone through some kind of like medical hell, like maybe you've suffered from feminine reproductive issues, like things like endometriosis, or like infertility, or like you've lost children in childbirth, you've had like miscarriages, or a lot of like medical issues. So it could also be like standing up for your rights in relation to something to do with that, or like healing like more feminine health issues. That could be something as well. Next, we've got purity. Wow, I'm just noticing on this card this white wolf has one purple eye and one green eye. That's interesting. And then we've got this forest underneath. The forest symbolizes like going through a time of, I guess, darkness, or like lack of clarity, confusion, like being lost in the woods kind of thing, like needing to go through that process of like letting go of like all kind of worldly things, and kind of get lost to like the conventional path, and go through that sort of like underworld process, go through that like rewilding process to like find your own way and come out of the forest and then find that clarity. So I feel like the purity, and with the like light and dark here, is exemplified by hell as well. It's like whatever that darkness was, whatever that underworld was that you had to go through, that you had to like purge out, it's like a purifying process. It's like kind of created, again, it's like it acted as fertilizer to activate you to like your truest, most purest soul part of yourself, or like your soul expression. That's the word I'm looking for. it's activated this like purity of soul expression. You can see it's like this white wolf. She looks very, probably she actually. I'm getting that kind of Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. That could be a really potent book to read if you're not already familiar with it. But yeah, I feel like this wolf really has this like very fierce energy, and it's like very big compared with the forest. It's like kind of like looking over the forest like, oh yeah, I just went through all of that, but like I'm a wolf now, like I'm not scared of anything. Like you could bring anything at me and like it's cool, like I'm cool. Like it's so kind of, it's like it created this like protection. It's like you're so protected now kind of thing is what I'm getting. Just seeing if anything else is coming through. I feel like there was another message, but I'm not sure. It might come to me in a minute. I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay, let's move on. We've got card number 16 with, yes, bitch fire, stand up for yourself. Yeah, so another like reference to fire, as I spoke about with the like phoenix rising, like rising from the ashes. So it's like, you know, relighting your fire, coming back to life, standing up for yourself. So like being able to speak your needs, being able to like be that like warrior for yourself and for others as well. I feel like this is something you're going to help other people, particularly women, but it could be any gender or any someone who identifies in a different way. But I feel like, yeah, this is something that's going to wake up in you really strong, is being able to stand up for yourself, and you're then going to be able to help others stand up for themselves in the face of like discrimination or abuse or like being talked down to or whatever it might be. Just attracting kind of toxic situations with people who don't let you kind of speak your truth in some way or try to suppress you in some way. But yeah, I feel like you've gone through that, like you had to go through these painful and difficult situations, as incredibly devastating as they were, in order to grow this like bitch fire essentially within you. And like bitch in this case is it doesn't matter how you identify, it's just an energy, right? It's just like being sassy, being able to stand up for yourself, being able to like, yeah, speak your truth, to find that like inner light and never let it go out, because you've had to like go through the underworld to kind of reactivate it, kind of thing. And lastly, we have duality, card number 27. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like you getting to a point where you've been able to like alchemize and integrate like both those sides, the light and the dark, the underworld and the like the upper world, like being able to connect with the other side, with like your intuition, with the messages from, yeah, your kind of like intuitive self, so that you can kind of live in the real world again. It's like you balance that duality really perfectly. Like you can contain that sort of darkness within you, or like what you've been through, you can like really hold space for it within you, and like really beautifully, and as well as like hold space for the light, for this like new part of yourself that's like the new phoenix that's risen from those ashes. It's like you can see the duality in everything. You can see the good and the bad. You can see the light and the dark. You can see that like that is how the world is, and that's what exists, kind of thing. And it's like you're able to help people face their shadow. You're able to help navigate people through that like darkness and come out the other side with so much more wisdom, and like use that darkness as fertilizer for their growth, kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we've got these two snakes that are coiled around this like caduceus here. It's like the snakes are symbolic of like shedding skin and of rebirth. So it's like, yeah, you've literally had to go through your rebirth in order to then be able to help others go through that as well. So really beautiful energy. I feel like maybe with the 27, some of you might be 27, or that might be the age that you get to a point where you can, because the caduceus also is symbolic of like it's like a medicine symbol. So like that might be the age that you step into this ability to be able to help people heal and end that cycle. Or this could be the age that like you start to feel more comfortable like showing yourself and being a little bit more vulnerable, like sharing your story or helping others like get out of that situation, like working in that field in some way, or just being able to like stand up for yourself. I feel like, give me a second, one moment. Sorry about that, Pal 3. I just needed to take a minute to kind of, and I didn't want you to have to sit there waiting while I tried to channel what was trying to come through. With this purity and the bleeding heart, I'm getting that like one of the things that you may well help people to do, and I kind of spoke about this briefly earlier with the like helping people with trauma that might be frozen, but like bleeding heart is like, you know, people who've been through heartbreak, people who've been through like a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain that they're storing in their heart. And it's like you can see all these little hearts and these little drops that are coming out, and then we've got purity. So I feel like one of the things that you might do as part of your highest life purpose is help sort of people who've been through that darkness, been through that pain, kind of purify themselves. So essentially it's kind of, you know, confirming what I was saying about possibly being some kind of therapist, you know, or counselor or like guide or something like that, or someone who specifically works with abuse victims or trauma victims to help them like release like all the pain out of their heart, like help them purge those negative emotions, help them purge out the traumas, purge out the pain, purge out, like literally kind of cry out their story kind of thing is what I'm getting. It just really like literally bleeding heart, like let all that like negative blood kind of go sort of thing, and purify themselves so that they can like, yeah, go through this whole healing and like come to a point where they're I guess like comfortable being themselves. We've got like also this pink crystal here, which looks a bit like a rose quartz. So like, yeah, helping people find unconditional love for themselves. I feel like no matter what they've been through, or no matter what's happened to them, or no matter what, you know, scars they may have, it's like, you know, really allowing them to like use that experience to fertilize their growth and be able to find love for themselves. It's like you are this helping hand, you are that source of support, you're able to like give that support and help them go through that like purifying process, that like purging and purifying process, and help them also be able to like stand up for themselves. So yeah, I feel like that is all the messages except one. We've got a crystal mandala oracle card to finish up, and we've got, oh my gosh, I was just talking about a pink crystal, and we've got pink calcite here with Archangel Aniel and acceptance. So yeah, acceptance. I feel like self-acceptance is a big one, learning to like accept, you know, I think, what did it say something about, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change, I am changing the things I cannot accept. Yes. So like, yeah, being like helping people stand up for themselves, be a force for things that they can't accept anymore in their lives or in their culture or in their society or whatever it might be. Yeah, helping people find more self-love for themselves, find that like self-worth, be able to stand up for themselves. All of that comes under acceptance. So I'm going to read a little bit from the guidebook from the Alana Fairchild book, because the messages are quite long. So I won't read all of it, but here we go. So we've got, we bring you the gift of acceptance. Rather than encouraging a situation to remain the same, the gift of acceptance empowers you to move through an experience, uncovering the opportunity for personal growth and spiritual development that may be at first hidden behind a challenging set of circumstances. What did I say about this, like fertilizing, being fertilizer for growth, that all those difficult things being fertilizer for growth? You are going to like definitely be someone who helps empower people to move through experiences. Absolutely. So resistance prevents you from being able to see the truth and go through the opportunities that life brings to you. Acceptance is necessary for you to be present rather than in resistance. When you're present, you can see what is happening more realistically, and you become able to respond to it with awareness then you shall grow and obtain more power and wisdom through that process, whilst you also become capable of receiving the divine assistance that will come to help you through any difficulty. Even if a situation seems challenging, your acceptance is the key to transforming it. It brings relief to your heart. It empowers you to take the step forward on your spiritual path that life is presenting to you. Through that step, new opportunities will arise. When you trust that no matter what appears to be, it is safe to trust that life is supporting you to manifest your divine potential, acceptance becomes easier and feels more natural and more joyful. Okay, so let me just see what bit they want me to read out, because this is quite long. So, sometimes acceptance can seem foolish, as though surely you must fight for what it is you want. It is true that you will need courage and determination to walk your path and overcome obstacles in life. To grow requires strength of body, mind, and spirit. Yet there is a difference between fighting against life and growing through the challenges it presents. Without trust, you may end up putting energy into fighting against the very situation trying to help you. It is wiser to accept what is happening and then ask, how can I best respond to this? Acceptance doesn't mean you give up the fight. It means you learn to fight from the heart, to grow with trust and life's guiding hand rather than pushing against it or biting the proverbial divine hand that feeds your soul. When a situation seems to be working against you, you can be sure there is information you cannot see as yet. There is a bigger picture, and in some way what is happening is serving you lovingly to fulfill your divine destiny without exception. With trust, you can continue to take the journey, even if the full understanding of why something is the way it is eludes you at that moment. So yeah, if you've been through a difficult time, suffering or working very hard, trying to obtain results or break through a challenge, this oracle brings you a message to soften your heart and loosen your grip on what you are hoping to achieve. It doesn't mean you need to give up, far from it. Rather, the oracle suggests that if you relax and accept where you're at, with all you've accomplished thus far, and even the challenge still ahead, you will move through it with less reactiveness and more conscious awareness and constructive choice. Beautiful. Yeah, I feel like that's really pertinent to everything we were talking about with like Rise of the Inner Warrior and the I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. I feel like that is kind of the mantra, I guess, for this pile, for pile number 3. Even though you've been through really difficult things, it's not sort of resisting or fighting against that. It's not saying, yeah, it's changing the things that you can no longer accept. It's like working with what you can change, I suppose, and standing up for yourself. Accepting what's happened. Yeah, I feel like pink calcite could be a really beautiful crystal for you, or any pink crystals actually that may help with your self-worth, because that helps to come into a state of unconditional love and like feminine healing of your heart chakra. So yeah, rose quartz I mentioned, pink calcite. So I'll hold the healing process up to the camera, and you can pause it and take a screenshot if you want to do this in your own time. Okay, that's page 1 and page 2. If for some reason you weren't able to see that, then let me know via email and I will send it to you on email. Hopefully that is focused enough. Okay, my lovely pile number 3s, I feel like that is all the messages I have for you today. I really hope that resonated for you. Leave a comment in the box below if you feel comfortable sharing. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me which content is resonating for you or you guys are enjoying at the moment. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a goddess reading. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you today. All the best with your life purpose, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love.